Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where you took 2 showers in 8 hours? Go off, King. Get clean.
I love a friend who's like supportive.
No matter what.
And slightly shading you at the same time.
Yeah. He'll support you through anything.
Yes.
Love.
Each episode we'll watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
We'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe definitely abused.
Yeah, this one abused all of them. I'm not gonna play. And of course, the shenanigans.
So, right off the bat, I really don't like the experience of listening to a podcast and getting excited that they're covering something that I really love. And 5 minutes in, I figure out, oh, they really, really hate this. And
that's what we're going to do today. So,
yeah, so
stay or go, dealer's choice.
This might not be the episode for you if this movie has a special place in your heart.
Yes. AKA if you're any of the reviewers online for major writing institutions. This is truly baffling to me.
I don't know what's happening. Even though I'd seen stuff on TikTok like dissing the movie, I was like, no, I'm going to give it an honest chance.
Because that's the nice thing to do. It's the generous thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, A Cinderella Story has 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
that's why I'm not willing to write a movie off.
Yeah, exactly. I won't do it. I'll give it a fair shot.
Yeah, and I was really hopeful. It started strong.
Oh, well.
I still cannot believe so many reviewers like it. It's like a 50-50 split.
I need to read one of those positive reviews to see how people justify them liking it. Because there's plenty of things that I don't like that people love. And if I will read or listen to someone talk about it, I'll be like, yeah, I can understand why you like that.
Yeah.
Still not for me, but I understand. So I want to understand.
The only explanation that I have is that the Hollywood industrial complex paid them off for good reviews.
I'm at a loss. And not just good reviews, making this movie the start of the rom-com renaissance.
That's what a bunch of these articles are saying, y'all, which is insane because everyone knows it was Netflix and they did it 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Where have you been? Did you miss all of the films Netflix has put out?
Even if this movie was excellent, saying in 2024 that any movie released is the start of a potential of a rom-com renaissance is just wild.
Because it's just patently untrue.
Yeah.
I feel like you could maybe point to something in like 2018 or 2019 that might be the precursor. But really, this has been driven almost exclusively by Netflix rom-coms.
Yes, I mean, on this podcast alone, how many rom-coms have we covered in even the 2020s? It's so many. And I'm not even including like from 2017 onwards.
Correct. Because we had a lot of time that year for some reason. I'm sorry. I'm doing the thing. I'm being sarcastic again. And I swore I would be better.
I'm laughing uncomfortably at the flashbacks of like, yes, we had a lot of time in 2020. I think we have successfully buried the lead.
Oh, shoot.
In what movie are we talking about?
Anyone but you. Anyone but this film, please.
Oh, goodness. It's right there. There for the taking.
Ooh.
Anyone but this. When we finished it, I spoke to you and said, I'm really glad that I watched this movie with you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten to the end of this movie.
I would have stopped halfway through.
Halfway through is generous.
I was still...
You held out hope?
Listen, they started strong.
They did.
So disappointing. What an excellent open.
So good.
I'm like, my stomach started hurting. Like, I'm so angry and disappointed with how good it started and how poorly it ended.
In fact, I didn't realize till later, but I had watched the meet cute on a TikTok clip, and I was like, oh, this looks cute. This looks engaging. I think I'd watch this movie. Promptly kind of forgot about it because I didn't make a note of it. But I really enjoyed watching the meet cute on a TikTok video and wanted to see more.
Yeah.
And then
we watched it. The best thing that I can say about it is that if you watch the show Dave, or if just in general you are a fan of Gata, watch the film. He's honestly worth it.
He's one of my favorite things in this movie.
The second I saw his face, I was texting Jane like, oh, this guy, I love him. He's great. Ah.
That is one of the only reasons to watch this movie.
Yeah, and he is worth it. If you're a fan,
he's really good.
We're just going to make a super cut of just his scenes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess we'll give you the damn plot synopsis. Sorry. A misunderstanding the morning after a meet cute means that when Bea and Ben meet again a few years later, they loathe each other.
Unfortunately for them and everyone else, they are forced to spend the weekend together for wedding celebrations in Australia.
Shenanigans ensue.
The premise is delightful.
It's Shakespeare.
Yeah, an adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing, which is a fantastic play.
They did the bar dirty.
Yeah.
You don't take such excellent source material and do what they did.
It's so perplexing because the adaptation is so poor, and I love Much Ado, and I'd forgotten you'd told me the day before, and throughout watching the movie, it didn't click that this was an adaptation.
Yeah, that's how poorly they adapted.
And there are several excellent Shakespearean adaptations, specifically in the genre. It lends itself to it.
Absolutely. A lot of the comedies have a romantic element, and you can do really beautiful things with it. Even Taming of the Shrew, which is kind of horrendous, has an excellent adaptation.
10 Things I Hate About You.
We'll watch her eventually.
Yeah. And we did one for our season finale for season 1.
Yeah,
She's the Man.
And who doesn't love West Side Story? Come on, there's so many good options.
I don't know.
Yeah. This is going to be the tone of the whole episode, everybody.
Yeah. Going between frustrated and disappointed sighs.
Yeah.
Because in hearing us go through the plot synopsis again, I was like, yes, this is juicy. This is an interesting plot synopsis.
Yeah.
There's room for whimsy and fun and mishaps and misunderstandings, which they do in this movie.
But poorly.
Yeah. Speaking of those, shall we hit the tropes?
Let's. We've got a meet cute. We've got fake dating. We have enemies to lovers. We've got a love triangle. That love triangle is because of the parents doing the most meddling family, which is also in there. We've got toilet paper on someone's shoe. I love that. It's so dumb and so funny. We've got excellent best friends / sisters / confidants.
Yeah, all of them.
We have overhearing someone saying something, usually bad. We've got forced proximity, because if initial attraction doesn't work, maybe Stockholm will. We've got teaching someone how to do something. We have a dramatic chase that's so unnecessary, I didn't like it at all. This is going to be a lot of singing, I think, so it makes me feel better.
Just to, release some of the energy.
Yeah. I need endorphins. I need my negative energy to go somewhere fun so people still like me. We've got...
the transparency.
Did you not know I've been doing this whole time?
Of course I know.
Okay,
it's
great.
Just that you saying it.
I know. I'm being genuine.
I know. I love that about you.
Thank you. No irony on that one, guys.
No. That was straight up jazz. Unfiltered.
And finally, you know I love them. Montages. I just want to start with the enemies to lovers fake dating thing. Two things that we
love.
That this film botched so bad.
Yeah, they really fumbled the bag with this.
You can't see me, but I'm holding my chest and my stomach because I feel like I'm never gonna recover.
No.
I'm just really disappointed.
The setting up of why they decide to fake date.
It could have been so good.
No, but it makes no sense. It could have been so good, but their rationale is stupid.
So the reason why the enemies to lovers doesn't work is because they're clearly attracted at the beginning. The meet cute is honestly one of the best meet cutes that I've seen in a very long time.
It's really good.
But they see each other, like we said, in a bar a little while later. It turns out B's sister is marrying one of Ben's best friends. So you have the opportunity of them seeing each other, and obviously the hostility is going to be there. But instead of it being fun hostility and hostility that's charged with sexual tension and playful and banter, it was just cruelty.
It's just mean.
It wasn't fun to watch.
Yeah.
It made me uncomfortable. It made me dislike both of them for each other so bad.
Yeah, and they never come back from it.
Exactly. And maybe I'm being unfair, but I was so grossed out by the cruelty and venom that there's no world where even a man with that many abs would have wooed me by the end.
Yeah, and then because we don't see the escalation when they see each other on the plane, and Ben goes out of his way and walks over to be so vicious.
So vicious. He's in first class. He did not need to go to the back of the plane.
Why is he walking back there? And then her retaliation, I'm sorry, is unhinged as well.
Yeah.
She climbs onto this man's seat, takes a massive bite of his cookie, not a euphemism, just his literal cookie he's eating. I'm not saying there's not a place to escalate things like that so much, but it's over a period of time that warrants that kind of behavior. You need to build to that.
The amount of hatred and vindictiveness and cruelty that would live in a person that would be in first class and would walk all the way to the back is unhinged. That is not a safe person. That is not a person you should talk to. If they had been sitting in the waiting area before they boarded the plane.
Yeah, or if they seated next to each other on the plane. Some poor schleb stuck in the middle seat and the two of them are bickering over them.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been excellent. So all of that all together, and then the fact that they continue their yelling, their rudeness, their cruelty when they do get to Australia, and they do it in front of all of their friends and family. There's no world where those family members are going to try to A, hook them up, and B, actually believe them when they say they're fake dating.
Yeah.
You needed to have established that well before they arrived and embarrassed themselves in front of loved ones.
This enemies to lovers could have been so much more satisfying to watch play out. Say we get them bickering on the plane, and maybe one interaction when someone picks them up at the airport, and they decide to call a truce.
Yes.
We're going to pretend to be nice to each other.
Real truce, though.
Yes.
They do fake truces in the movie, and it's weird.
They call a real, honest truce. They're going to suck it up. But because of how much they get under each other's skin, when they're alone,
It bubbles up.
They can't help themselves to bicker. And so it jumps out, maybe in front of people, mostly on their own, but they're trying to keep a lid on it.
How sexy would it be to have quiet fights off on the side?
Silent fights.
They have to be really close to each other.
Yes.
They're basically whispering their hatred.
Exactly.
It would be so sexy.
And their faces getting closer and closer and closer.
That would have been steamy. Why did they not do that?
I don't know why they didn't do that.
I'm reimagining the film right now to make myself
That
feel
would have
better.
been so hot. Another part of the issue that's why the enemies to lovers isn't as successful as it could have been is that the chemistry is just not there.
Which
It's
is
just not
wild because the best part of the film that's not Gata is that at the end of it, you have montages of them singing the Natasha Bedingfield song that is Ben's Serenity song. And you see all the extras and stuff singing. This is clearly playoff shenanigans, which is fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
And their chemistry is
It's good there.
great.
So what's going on?
And I'm watching their chemistry be excellent in scenes that I watched and felt like they had none, which feels like the worst own goal I've ever witnessed. You should not have put all that fun stuff at the end and shown us how much you messed this up.
It's so strange to me.
Yeah.
Because we've watched some enemies to lovers where some of the actions are a lot more questionable than in this movie, aka James Marsden in 27 Dresses, who is a stalker.
An actual stalker.
But because their chemistry is so good and hot and heated, which is what you need in enemies to lovers, we excuse all of that shit and are just eating it up.
You excuse it because if the audience can feel the sexual chemistry, then you have to imagine the characters are also feeling it.
Exactly. This just feels like two people being horrible to each other and wrecking the wedding of two people they care for a lot because they can't be adults and just suck it up.
Yeah, they're both so incredibly unlikable, which is insane for a rom-com.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about a trope?
For a palate cleanser, I really want us to talk about the meet cute because I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. It was the best. It's a good one.
So B is in desperate need for the loo and she goes into a coffee shop. It's just for customers, so she tries to buy something and Ben says, "Oh, honey, what would you like to drink? Would you like a coffee? But you had a coffee really late last night, so that didn't work, so maybe we should lay off the caffeine."
She's like, "Oh, of course, I'll get a tea."
Yeah.
It's very cute.
And then he says, "Well, she's a paying customer. Can we please have the bathroom key?" And off she trots. And he's like, "I'll wait for you." It's all very cute.
I don't understand why they needed to do the fake pee thing.
The fake pee thing?
Why they needed the sink to get her pants wet.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I guess it was just an early hijink, but like she's already on the phone with her friend. She already kind of put her foot in her mouth. She got into the weeds over bathroom law. It was very silly already.
And when she left, we got the classic toilet paper on shoe.
Yeah, there it is.
You know, we didn't need to watch 2 minutes of her trying to hoist her crotch up to a hand dryer.
Excellent core strength, though.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Well done.
I do think it's charming, too, that it took her 2-3 minutes in there, maybe longer, and he waited.
Yeah.
He waited outside that bathroom because there was such a great initial attraction that he felt the need to wait, which was cute.
Totally.
In that way, it played together.
He kept her bread as well, and then after a very sweet montage of them sort of getting to know each other, he makes a grilled cheese for both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go back to his place and he makes a grilled cheese.
Which we support.
We love cheese. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but she does sleep over the first night meeting a stranger. Ooh.
On the couch.
They both fall asleep on the couch cuddling, and it's very cute.
It is cute, but I'm like, on the couch in jeans that are probably still damp. But yes, very sweet.
And in her panic, sneaks out first thing in the morning, calls her friend, her sister, we're not quite sure, and realizes in real time that that was insane. She really likes this guy. She should go back. In the interim, he's woken up and knows that she slipped out and is deeply wounded by it. So, when she does arrive back at his place, she catches exactly the right time where he is talking to his best friend about how she is a total mess and definitely someone to avoid.
Yeah.
She's devastated and walks off.
And they never see each other again.
Until...
Bum, bum, bum.
What an incredible start.
Yes.
Plenty of great rom-coms have worse beginnings.
Facts.
So I was really actually kind of excited.
Yeah, especially after watching that opening sequence, and then you have that classic overhearing someone saying something. We have the introduction of a really cool best friend. They had chemistry in the first few minutes of the movie. I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
This is a fun premise.
I think that even just the delivery of the cruelty of his line felt a little out of place. There needed to be like maybe one more sentence saying, I had an incredible time. I really liked her. And then she snuck out. And then she starts to walk up. And then he says, yeah, I don't mess with people like that. I'm glad she left. Because then you see the woundedness, but you see like that they were having a genuine conversation first. It seems weird to come in hot with your friend and be like, nah, you know?
I mean, I think they kind of tried to do it because the friend was like, ooh, someone's in love.
You made food?
And picks up some random instrument where we get so little information about this man's deceased mother. He's like, ooh, you told her about your mom? You must be in love. How is this thing significant to the mum?
Don't know.
Nothing is explored about this poor woman.
They woman in a fridged her.
Totally.
Ugh.
We know nothing about her other than that she has died probably semi-recently.
Right.
And that he doesn't really talk to people about it.
They don't even give us a timeline.
We know nothing.
I don't like that. That's gross.
We don't know her name.
We don't know.
If she was sick, if it was an accident.
We don't know anything.
We know nothing. Oh, and we know that she taught him how to dive.
That's it. We don't know anything about her.
No. She was a good diver? I don't know.
Ew.
Ew.
Ew. David.
I don't know, man.
What else do we want to...
I think we should talk about the love triangles.
Oh, yeah. This is honestly very funny.
The funniest of all being the odd people of each triangle have more chemistry in a 2-second scene than the two leads have in the entire movie.
Yep.
How did they have so much chemistry?
Both of them have more sexual chemistry by themselves than I saw from the leads together.
You texted me particular about Darren Barnett
Oh
who's
my gosh.
standing on the boat.
I
and
mean,
you're like...
Devin Barnett can smolder in the dark. Listen.
What a beautiful man.
His character was really great. His character was very funny.
Yeah.
He is B's ex,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a long-term on-again, off-again, it seems. Even as far as perhaps childhood.
Yeah.
They were engaged. She broke it off because she felt it was too easy. It was too comfortable.
Mhm.
Another character makes a comment that, well, of course she doesn't want to marry him. She doesn't want to marry your brother. So it is very funny that her parents decide to buy his ticket to Australia
and try to get them back together.
Yes, that's messy. Don't do that.
Ooh.
He's not been told
Yeah.
that she didn't know.
Mm.
So he's come in thinking everything is kosher. And at one point, when B is about to go on a walk with Ben, Jonathan says, I'm just going to stay behind and yell at your parents. Which was very charming.
What a bro. And he just apologizes.
Yeah, he was really endlessly kind about it.
Yeah.
Also mortified.
Yep. And then the other part of the love triangles is Ben's ex, who is a cousin of one of the brides, I think.
Yeah, so Claudia and Pete are siblings, and it's their cousin.
Yeah. And she is dating an Australian beach babe.
Total broski.
And it's implied that Ben is still hung up on her.
Yeah, it's very much implied that she broke up with him.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps he's not really found anybody since her. So he's maybe still harboring feelings.
So this is kind of one of the reasons why Ben and Bae decide to fake date. But it's also sort of weirdly driven by the fact that they cottoned on to people setting them up. So their scheme is like, well, they're trying to set us up anyway. Why don't we pretend that we are dating? It's just so weird.
Yeah.
The rationale for them fake dating.
I mean, I think logically it makes perfect sense. He's kind of waffling between wanting to be with her or not, and she's very much just trying to stay away. So it built up to be very logical, except they fumbled the execution.
Yeah. And I think why I'm being so hard on this is because we've just gotten done with To All the Boys I've Loved Before, where the fake dating is set up
Beautifully.
just beautiful to watch, and the motivation of each character is so clear.
Mm-hmm.
When they were setting this up on the boat in this movie, I was so confused. I was like, oh, okay, we've gotten to the fake dating part, but how did we arrive here, kind of? It was just so messy.
Speaking of how did we arrive here, why the hell are we in Australia?
It took so long for us to establish that one of Pete and Claudia's parents is Australian. We were close to the 30-minute mark of this movie.
Also, it's Claudia's dad and Pete's stepdad.
Oh.
And they made everyone come to Australia for one guy.
And it took us so long to get to the why of it.
It made no sense.
The whole time, Jazz and I were bitching so much about why are we going to Australia? These are other destinations that are also beautiful that wouldn't cost as much to get to. It's also a 16-hour flight for a weekend.
Wild.
Just adjusting to the time difference would have screwed you over so much.
And like the cousin who is Australian and the dad who's also Australian clearly have lived plenty of years in the States to have had the relationships that they had. Why did they not just come back and hang out for a minute?
No.
It was really just for those two people. I guess it was an excuse for forced proximity because they're not in their homes, but you could do that at any resort.
Yeah, you can do that anywhere.
Didn't work. It was bizarre. It felt very forced. I think they just like decided very early on that they were hiring Sydney Sweeney and they're like, we'll do it in Sydney. That's my only logical explanation. I'm not even kidding.
Is there another trip you want to talk about before we hit the shenanigans?
I would like to talk about the best friends, but we'll do that in the shenanigans. Gate to saving the film.
Oh my goodness, this man is hilarious.
His spiritual psychic connection with the koala is one of the funniest things. And I believed it.
It was really good. That koala was well trained.
I know.
But also, Gator was so sincere.
I know.
I really believed that him and the koala were forming a connection.
He was like, stop, no pictures. Don't steal his soul.
Get out of here. One of my favorite shenanigans is when the family is busy meddling and they're talking about how Ben and Bay are going to ruin this wedding. And Pete is just on the piano adding accompaniment to the tone of what is being discussed. It is so funny.
And totally pitch perfect.
So good.
They're talking, so it's random background music. Then someone drops a truth bomb.
Like, bum, bum, bum.
And then da-da-da,
Yes.
da-da-da. And then Hope runs, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Dramatic flourish, and then he's done. It was so funny.
Very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then with both sets of the best friends, and including the dad, it's really fun watching them try to set the two up because they're doing a rotten job.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
The intentional overacting is so transparent and funny.
It's so fun to watch Claudia and Holly be two people being bad at acting and then watch Pete and Pete's stepdad do the most.
The chewing of the scenery.
They're not even looking at each other. They're literally staring in the direction of the other person being like, yes, father.
But why do you think she's being this way?
Oh, interesting. And then he drops some actual Shakespearean language and is like, I made that up on the fly. I really did love it.
It was very good.
What would you like to talk about?
Some of the more bit roles that were really good is the lady on the plane
Ooh, yes.
who wakes up.
That's just a featured extra, and she slayed.
Yes, she did so well. She had not one line, but the look of judgment and then, I don't care, I'm just minding my business.
Yes.
And goes back to sleeping. Whoever you are, well done. That was excellent.
Very good. Also the himbo, right?
Mr.
Mr. Himbo had what, 3 scenes? 4 scenes?
He was in a couple of the group scenes, but like where it's just him with one scene partner, not very many.
Yeah, he has the intro scene, hilarious. They did this weird thing where they wanted this to be a sex comedy, but they didn't actually go all the way. So then there was just gratuitous nudity and weirdness in 3 spots, which felt
so out of place.
Like, jarring, because I wasn't...
You're not primed for it?
Yeah. It just came out of nowhere. Like, they just show, literally, I'm not even kidding you all, literally his dick tip.
Yep.
Just
spraying water.
Just whoop.
It was literally a jump scare.
Yeah. Correct. And then at the end, what was truly delightful
Oh, I love this.
for the wedding, they show the string quartet and they're going over the violin ladies, and then they pan down.
Yeah.
And there he is on the cello.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Who says people can't contain multitudes?
I love that.
I love that for him.
So good. And then in the goofy playoff montage, they show him in a full suit catching a wave. I feel like he had his own beautiful arc. I'm trying to think of other funny, silly shit that I actually did enjoy.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think I'm tapped out, to be honest, of the fun stuff.
Right.
Do you want to talk more about how it tried to be a sex comedy but didn't deliver in terms of identity?
What actually were they trying to achieve?
I think they didn't commit to making it a sex comedy,
Yeah.
right? Because if they wanted to go for that, the two leads should have slept together the first night.
Yes.
Like, they should have had a one-night stand.
Yeah.
And then there's even more motivation for why they really pissed at each other.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you're setting the tone.
Like, if what you want to do is a sex comedy, the characters all have to be in a sex comedy.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So I need more sexually explicit language from
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
I need her to be a little gratuitous on the phone with their girlfriends.
Mhm.
I need him to be a little too explicit with his guy friend the
Yeah.
morning after.
The language isn't really crass enough, so it just looks like you're exploiting the actors' bodies.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like a sex com. So every time, like, her boobs, his abs, his butt are out, it just feels like you're trying to compensate for the lack of chemistry.
I already said it once, but truly, I don't think either of them are hot enough for how cruel they were to each other.
They were really horrible to each other.
I don't think anyone on the planet is hot enough for how much cruelty they spewed
Yeah.
in rom-coms in the genre and a lot of Hollywood in general. There's a lot of compensating with bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some people really do feel like you can't put out these movies without the hottest people possible. And they say things like, oh, the guy who played opposite, he wasn't hot enough for this film or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe I'm an anomaly, but I do feel like many women would agree that there's a thing in our brains that will turn off hotness so fast if
Yeah.
they're just a reprehensible person.
Absolutely. You can't come back from it.
I can't. Lots of articles love Glenn Powell in this role.
Really?
Lots of reviewers love him in this film.
Damn.
But because Ben was so awful, I just feel gross. I would not want him near me. I can't. Like, that shut it down.
Yeah. And I really loved Glenn Powell in Set It Up. And because I've seen him in a rom-com that I've enjoyed and where the chemistry was good, and even though his character was still a bit dickish in that movie, he wasn't mean.
Yeah. A little bit of dickishness is kind of playful even.
Yeah.
If it's done the right way.
Yes. And I would want us to cover Set It Up on the pod as well, so you can have a palate cleanser on him, because I totally understand having such a bad taste in your mouth.
I'm going to need some space between this movie and that movie, to be honest, because I don't want to prejudge him going in.
No, absolutely. It won't be this season. Maybe season 4
Okay,
or 5, but at some point. Yeah.
I think if you look at the film as a whole, you can see a lot of excellent writing.
Mhm.
There's actually a lot of really funny moments that were written into the script and really funny lines.
Yeah.
And I think truly it is a directorial and editing issue.
I think it's a chemistry thing as well.
I mean, for
Like,
sure.
I genuinely think it's a chemistry thing too.
Well, here's the thing, though, is we watched them have chemistry in the same scenes that they had none.
Yeah.
We watched them do candids, bloopers with chemistry. So the chemistry was present.
It's just so strange.
How did you squash that much chemistry out of them? And, like, I don't want to harp on it too long. I think that the bloopers were a mistake to include. They're
Yeah.
delightful and they're extremely charming, but they make it so obvious how you messed up.
I think this movie is a lesson in a couple of things. So if your movie's identity isn't clear, it ends up not succeeding either way.
Yeah.
You pick a lane. You're going to do sex comedy and then you lean all the way into that.
That was a mistake for this one.
You're going to go for the sweet, heartwarming. You're going to go for slapstick. Like, pick and then do it all out. A Cinderella Story Christmas Wish is
Full slap.
a fever dream. But it knows what it's doing.
Yeah.
And everyone involved knows what they're doing. There's no question as to what movie anyone is in.
Yeah.
Whereas in this movie, as delightful as the overacting eavesdropping scenes were, it just felt so out of place with the rest of the movie. I don't know.
I think that the slapstick moments like super work, and I think there were certain scenes that the quote lovers had that felt like they forgot that they're the lovers and they're not supposed to be funny. And that's not totally true. Obviously, like, plenty of slapsticks have the leads be the funniest people in them.
Yeah.
Anna Faris, Adam Sandler, prime examples. But I think when you're doing something like this, you can have a touching movie that has slapstick elements if you let the lovers be lovers and gooey, and you let everyone around them be goofs.
And then I think maybe part of that is the problem in the adaptation, where the focus is mainly on B and Ben, where in the play Much Ado, we have a other set of lovers. We have Hero and Claudio. And because we don't have that much focus on the more traditional lovers, then it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like to change it a bit more. I'm not sure.
I think that the main thrust was in the right place. I just think executionally, there was nowhere to go when you made them unlikable in the second scene.
That's true. Yeah. We needed to build the enemies to lovers more.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you could have them pissed of each other.
They came in too hot.
Yeah. I think that's one of the main problems. It started at a 10.
And nobody did anything warranting a 10.
No. Some dude you spent the night with 2 years ago said something mean about you. And some girl you spent the night with 2 years ago snuck out in the morning. And you still butthurt about it all this time later.
Truly, like, the fact that they saw each other and had that much of a visceral reaction and so much hatred is wild. Why do you even remember me? If someone treated me that poorly, I would put them out of my mind so quick.
Deleted.
You never existed.
And then if you come back, sure, and you're reminded of it, then you can see them get irritated or like maybe a bit snarky with each other.
Yeah, but snarky at best.
Not rude.
Oh God, so mean. Ugh. That scene is not good. Anyway, the last little thing that might be a fun way to, like, send her off is I do think the script lent itself to maybe slightly slapsticky. There were actually a bunch of really funny scenes when you think about it. And that's so unfortunate because my favorite things are the dumbest things. You just have to make me believe you believe.
Yeah.
That's all we needed. The teaching the dad to dive is a dumb scene that could have been so corny, but they didn't, like, lean enough into the hackneyed insert of the dead mom again.
Yes.
They could have.
And I mean, I actually really liked that scene. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But have his dad be dead then.
So there's a point of connection with the other father.
Yes, because then B says, oh, thank you for spending so much time with my dad. And you can have him say, oh, it's not a problem. I really miss my dad.
Correct.
Now you just have to, like, wedge in another reference to the dead mom who we know nothing about.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Even something like the spider in the swim trunks, pretty funny if you do it the right way.
Yeah.
The Natasha Bedingfield Unwritten as your Serenity song is actually so funny, and bringing it back over and over again as a way to self-soothe is very cute.
Yeah.
The dog's name is Klonopin. Give me a break. The dog wrecking the cake can be so funny, but putting it at a tense moment and then making it someone else's fault isn't funny. The faking physical affection, so funny because they're trying to get everyone to believe them. What else did I put? Oh, the overuse of the helicopter, if you do it right, could have been so funny.
But it was just used as plot. They didn't lean into it as a joke.
Yeah.
So it just felt dumb.
No, it needs to be a full joke.
Yeah, you need to, like, overuse it then.
Yeah.
Where it just feels like, why do they keep wasting these resources? Or you can have someone say, wow, the helicopter response is really fast in Australia, or something like that.
Yeah, right?
Some reference.
Everyone needs to comment on how great the helicopters here are. Like, this needs to now be a running gag.
Yes, exactly.
As soon as the helicopter showed up, everyone needed to say something to the effect of, we're less than a kilometer away from shore, why didn't you use a boat?
Yes.
Every time.
Yes, every
You could
single
practically
time.
swim back.
Yeah, both times. He's so close to land,
So
and then
funny.
a helicopter comes and fishes him out. And this is his plan.
That's ridiculous.
It's so absurd, but because they didn't lean full into the slapstick, it just seems dumb as opposed to funny. But there was like real potential for it.
Yeah. There was lots of places where this was so good.
Yeah.
How disappointing. Good bones.
Mm-hmm. Strong bones.
Terrible execution. Well, that brings us to a fun fab fail, which is a very unsurprising, if you listen to the whole episode, fail.
Yes. Or very unsurprising if you just listen to our disclaimer right at the top.
Yep.
It's unfortunate, but it's a fail.
There's not a whole lot we could add that we haven't already gone over.
Yeah.
You know what was funny to me that I noticed?
Yeah.
Is I was so unhappy by the end of the film that even this beautiful grand romantic gesture / chase scene, it felt so disjointed and I didn't believe a word coming out of their mouth that I noticed how much the music was trying to do the most and I didn't want her to.
But she also wasn't supposed to be there. Not that song. It was like spa music. They needed a better song choice for that.
They were trying to be like hopeful and grand. The music swelled and I said, no thank you.
What is so puzzling to me is that the director of this movie also directed Friends with Benefits and Easy A.
What?
Easy freaking A.
Huh.
Yeah.
No, actually, that makes so much sense to me.
Mm?
Yes, that actually makes this make way more sense.
How so?
You are a sex comedy person and the script isn't a sex comedy and you tried to make it something it's not.
You're right. That makes so much more sense. Because I love Easy A.
Yeah.
Not a rom-com. Such a good movie.
Yeah. So this film should have been light, maybe a little gooey, and certainly a bit slapsticky. And this guy tried to do it like a Judd Apatow.
And Easy A is kind of loosely based, or at least reference to the Scarlet Letter.
Yeah.
So it can work. He can do it.
Yep, that makes way more sense, is they tapped the wrong director for the script they were given.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a bad director. This was a director giving a script that they're not well suited for. How disappointing.
Yeah. Well, at least some mystery is solved.
Mystery solved.
I'm glad you clarified it on the why it makes sense part, because for me I was like, it doesn't make sense because he can do an adaptation of more classical piece and he can make a good movie.
He has a lane.
Yeah, but I wonder what the original draft of the script looked like as well, because maybe they also weren't clear on what it is they wanted to do.
Right.
And maybe that's why they tapped him. Maybe the script shouldn't have been a sex com in the first place.
And this is true of a lot of people. So I don't want anyone to get it twisted, but a lot of directors have calling cards. This was not a script he should have been given. I don't think the script is a sex com.
Well, there's a lot of nudity in it.
But the nudity is a choice. The nudity is not implied in the lines.
Well, stripping off because of the spider, but I don't know. We're splitting hairs over it now.
I think that you can strip off to undies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't need to take his swim trunks off. The spider could have been on his shoulder.
Mm.
I thought about those nudity scenes a lot, and none of them are implied in the lines. Bizarre.
Curious.
Well, that brings us to the fun part. If you're not having fun, I don't know.
I don't know.
Give me the
Give
cheese,
me the cheese,
please.
Please. Give me cheese.
My kingdom for some cheese.
Please.
You ready?
Alrighty.
3,
2,
2, 1. Yellow
Stale
tail,
smart
pure
food.
bright shard.
Whoa. I haven't heard of this cheese. Oh no, you said shard.
Yep.
It's not a cheese.
It's not.
I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to figure out, like, what the hell kind of cheese is this?
What's yours again?
Stale smart food.
Oh, I see you. Okay, yep. Did I go first last time?
I don't know, because we've messed around with the order quite a bit, so I don't know where we are right now. It's to all the boys before this.
You went first in that one.
Yeah, okay, so it's your turn to go first.
Yes. So, I chose Yellowtail, Pure Bright, and I decided to go with their Chardonnay for the Pure Bright line, just arbitrarily. But
Oh, Chardonnay. I thought you said chard as in like the roughage.
nope, I went with a wine because this is not a cheese.
Mhm.
You don't get to cheese. You don't get to do what you did and get a cheese. This is a punishment. You're in timeout. Drink your wine in the corner. I mean, obviously Yellowtail, y'all. Australia. But Yellowtail makes this line called Pure Bright. Pure Bright is their lower calorie, lower sugar wine line.
Oh, goodness.
Think Skinny Girl Margarita. Think I'm counting calories. So, the reason why I picked this is, number one, it's lower calorie. I felt like that was very similar to the way that the director exploited these poor actors' bodies, and that those bodies require lower calories to maintain.
Yeah, because Glenn Powell got jacked for this movie.
Yeah. We've also got the lower sugar content, which for me is like the lack of any sort of sweetness and tenderness that we would hope for from a movie like this. And finally, the thing that's kind of disappointing is, yes, you're technically drinking a wine, and a wine pairs well with the cheese, so it's at least somewhat related. But because you've done all of this manipulation of the wine and all of these things that the wine didn't want you to do, you end up with something that's watery and ultimately unsatisfying. So,
Oh man, that's so depressing.
that's why it's a Yellowtail Pure Bright.
Good, but depressing.
Yeah, they made a bed and they're gonna sleep in it.
Sticking to the depressing, they always busy eating a bag of Smart Food on the plane. Smart Food, for those who don't know, is like a white cheddar flavored popcorn. One of my favorite snacks from the States.
Great snack.
It's delicious and so bad for you. I'm talking about what that bag of popcorn is going to look like after a 16-hour flight if it hasn't been sealed properly. You know what it should be. You get so excited. Is it good cheese? Nah, it's not good cheese, but it's like cheese flavored and it's divine. The bones are there, but what's inside is disappointing and the texture is just off. And you spend the whole time wondering, why am I continuing to shovel handfuls of this stuff into my face? Because the experience is not what I know that it should and could be.
Yeah, and if you weren't sharing them with a friend, you wouldn't finish the bag.
No way.
Just throw it away.
Yep.
Oh boy. Well, there you have it. That was our discussion of Anyone But You.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie. Any shenanigans we may have missed. Or what cheese you think it is. Or non-cheese.
Or stale object. You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansensuepod, or you can email us at shenanigansensuepod@gmail.com.
We hope you'll join us next time. And until then,
Love is too precious a resource to waste.
Bye. A Shakespearean comedy is too precious a resource to waste.
That's literally what I was thinking. That was literally what I was thinking. But I can't. How did you do it? How did you make it so bad?
I don't know.
Why'd you do this to me?
I'm so